I must have missed it then.
Yeah, it's okay.
I used to win actual competitions with Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a teenager, young adult. I've been wanting to get back into it. I have a whole bunch of cards still.
So I do know that Buff runs Master Duel tournaments. You should get in on those.
I know. I need to do it. I'm afraid that I won't be as good as I used to be.
Well,
because I haven't played in so long.
Go ahead.
So
yeah,
I guess I'm just gonna have to just do it and see.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that play. You've got Mazer and some of your old friends from Dolls, Boom Boom, Glowshine. Yeah, they all play.
Yeah.
Good morning or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a new day, a new set of stream, and a new season. Welcome to my recapness of the LCU and the little universe and drama. Today's little session, we have the one, the only, the sweet tea or twisted tea. Even though that there's actually another user in the LCU that it's called Twisted Tea. Good times, good times, good times. Now we have, I believe this guy named is Phantom, who used to be called Alt Bigfoot, or Bigfoot alting. I believe that's what he used to call himself prior to being hired on to the TikTok. So yeah, so as you see, whole new set of crew, a whole new set of things to begin on Tecton. The good thing is they still hire another techie. So that's actually a good thing rather than hiring a random nobody and making the show completely different. Right? And with that being said, though, with that being actively said, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, the guy doesn't bring in the exact same energy as CD, but I still think he has the same amount of, not like the energy of being, vibrant and very active and loud, but more along the line of being passionate of what he wants to do. I mean, he straight up did say to Sweet Tea that he's wanting to teach her how to do basic programming, which would be interesting to see Sweet Tea. And even Sweet Tea was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Better not tell me that. I'm gonna hold you to it like I do with everything else. Don't tell me. Look at this cool noodles I've got, CD. Do you like pickles?
Love pickles.
Look at that.
You got dill pickle flavored ramen?
Yes.
That sounds awesome.
You can get it at Walmart.
Oh, for real? I'll have to go looking for those. I actually got to make my way to one of those later today. I got to get my tires changed.
At Walmart?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that around here.
Yeah, look for a super Walmart, one that's got an auto center.
We got a lot of mechanics around here, though.
Real question.
Good. No shortage of, yeah, what's up?
Is your super Walmart still 24 hours? Because I miss 24-hour super Walmarts.
Oh, man, I don't think it is
3 years.
I'm not gonna lie, Phantom gives out like that vibes energy, and I'm not sure if I like that or it may be a detriment to the show itself. But hey, I'm down for it. We good. We bowling. We here. And I'm not sure I'm gonna cover Tech Talk all the time. Mind you that if I find that there's not really worth much talking about a show, maybe if I find something hilarious, I'll clip a minute or two. Right, but not much, right? I'm trying to keep these videos in a timely manner to get them out as fast as I can, but still keeping the quality higher and higher and higher. And as things go forward, I'm probably going to have to be willing to cut certain shows off of the recapping, and I'm just have to say, oh yeah, this is what happened in the show today, and then move the heck on. Bar from that. Pretty good show. CD just kind of came in to check on how everybody was doing and just seeing the show will work and everything. And I think for the most part, I think he's confident enough to see things work out. I think very differently to say when Rastov moved from Ozzy to the LCO. Now, mind you, Ozzy was kind of screwed for different reasons compared to Tech Talk. Or Tech Talk was on a lower end show, and Ozzy was not really high end or medium end. But I think because of the way Rasta ran that show is very different. But let's move on to
schedule everyone.
But wait, so he's saying that he doesn't want to do Milkers because of the Mike situation, but I thought Mike stepped away from Milkers to do Ozzy and Queen, so why would that matter? And he had no problem with helping Queens whenever Mike was managing it, whenever Tina needed somebody, so what is the problem here?
The problem is we can't. That's the problem. The major problem.
Alright, I can't. I fucking can't.
We got one hate comment, by the way. Barley, be real. Cancel Cafe.
Ooh.
Appreciate you, Barley. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your input. I appreciate it.
Yep. So yeah, Kiki, yes. Mike got Ozzy. So from Mike asked Ozzy to work with them if he wants to go with them. They said yes, obviously. So this will be Mike's first male show that he's actually run. So it'll be interesting to see how this works.
Yeah, I'm interested. I don't know what the fuck they have planned, but
And here we have caffeine. Now, mind you, caffeine nerds are being cut down from 4 to 2 hours. So, in the case of cafe, they're kind of having to do the remind segment a little faster and a little earlier. Which in this stream, they kind of went pretty fast. Surprisingly, they went really fast. Now, let me be real. In the case of Yo Mama not working for not willingly working with in Milker because of Mike. Yeah, Mike is gone from Milker, but I can understand where Yo Mama is coming from, where he doesn't want to be involved. He doesn't want to be there at all. Right? Even if Mike still isn't there, the fact that it's Mike is still around, and you really can't blame a guy. A lot of people you can't really blame, right? With something we're gonna bring up in nerds because there's probably a clip or two I'm trying to remember off of nerds, but that's very different because the nerds kind of brought up to it. But we'll talk about that when we talk about that when we get into nerds. In the case of Yo Mama, you really can't blame him for not wanting to work with Mike, especially coming from where community he's from and everything. And I believe someone like Sweet Tea said so he can't stand people like moral or grandstanding or whatever in this situation, which I just felt well, doesn't he not have the rights to do that? Doesn't he not have the right to, not wanting to work with somebody that may or may not be an abuser? Just an opinion out there. But again, we'll have to wait and see how things play out with the Mike situation and how the court proceeding goes from here, whether he's innocent or not. But it doesn't mean the feelings are not, still not there, right? You can't remove the feeling that people have no matter what, no matter how much the court says. But nevertheless, let's move on.
Week. Baby, you're on your period. You are fucking emotional right now. You need to calm down. You're clearly emotional. You're having super period right now, okay? Look at the rock on your hand. Look at the rock on your hand.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
Now hang up.
Okay.
Oh, poor Desi. I'm sorry.
Hopefully,
Oh.
wait. Because you
She's so
can have a
emotional.
little bit of bleeding whenever you
Yeah.
get impregnated too, and you get emotional while you're pregnant. Is Desi pregnant?
He said it was all week though.
True.
Like you just spot.
I guess.
Right?
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know much about that.
Buff said, "Trust me, I know super periods." Is this a period stream? We're not supposed to be
Super
talking about
periods?
periods for
I know,
so long.
right? What the hell is a super period? That's like a period that saves you from logic.
Implantation bleeding. Just saying. But okay, let's go back to
Point blank period.
you can spot from implantation, but a week-long bleed, haha. No. Okay, so outside.
What?
What is the furthest that you
Let me be real with you. Watching those was a little awkward for a guy, because a lot of it kind of came down to a sexual manner of talking. And at some point, when you got with Glammy was saying some offhanded stuff about her sexual life that I didn't even know about. It's like when you hear it from your own family talking about that stuff, and you're like, "What am I hearing? What is this? What is this talk?" That's how it kind of felt a little bit. And I'm just like, please, please, God, please, oh merciful God, please let my suffering end because I don't want it to continue. That's how I felt. That's how I genuinely felt. But nevertheless, Doll was really in that. And again, if people were wondering, yes, Desi is technically now a part of Dolls, right? It's now part of Dolls. It's to be interesting to see her come out of her box and get information about Boogie that we have never probably heard about. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Right? We'll have to wait and see how things go from here. Hopefully they go perfectly fine. And nobody screws it up. But then again, we are dealing with the LCU where anybody can be a screw up. And now me saying that, I hope nobody is a screw up, especially with Dolls, because Dolls, Dolls may as well be called local sexual or sexuality. Local sexuality sounds pretty wild, actually. Sounds like a name to a title to like a Kiwi tape or Smokey MC video. Alright, I don't know why I wanted to say that, but let's move on.
Okay. It's not content. It's not something that, I'm not gonna lie, the last time that we talked about like DV shit, we lost a pay pig and several things because people don't like that shit. So I don't like when people are always in the chat like, let me talk about somebody's business that's not mine.
Yeah, can I just be honest, guys? This is not fucking content to me. Every time I see you guys spam in the comments saying to fucking talk about it, ultimately it's not content to me. I have nothing to do with this situation, neither does Buff. We are not involved, and like, I understand that by being in the universe, somehow you think that we have to say something. What would you like us to say? We are not the judge, we are not the jury, and we are absolutely not the executioner. So there is nothing that we could say that would either make the situation better or make it, like, everything we would say is only going to make it worse. There's no way, shape, or form we are involved in this. And to be honest, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know what to say. The last time we talked about anything like this subject, our audience was pissed at us for days. So no, I don't want to fucking talk about it.
I just don't like it. It's
So the nerds are trying to essentially not talk about the situation, and I think they made a kind of a valid point where I think if you're somebody who's built their channel off of talking about a drama and a situation, it's a little different, that right? Because you kind of have to talk about it, right? If you already talked about one DV situation or one event, you kind of have to talk about the others. Right. And we've seen this before. We have clearly have seen this before. And you can't really blame the nerds, right? I think what it is, they don't want to talk about a situation they don't feel comfortable they can't even speak about. I think the reason in the case of one Buff, I think he's just trying to be like, doesn't want to talk about it because I know for a fact that I think he mentioned that he comes from a lot of female, he was raised by a lot of female, so he's probably have seen it and heard female being abused a number of times in his life. And you can't really blame him for not wanting to talk about it, because if he does, it may open up wounds he just doesn't want to go through ever again. And again, I can't blame the guy, regardless of how I feel about him. I can't blame him for that. Now, with Zay also makes sense, because in the case of Zay, from what we can gather about her past and her history, I wouldn't be surprised if she has experienced some DV stuff. Now, mind you, 2 weeks ago, I think it was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, there was this whole situation where Boogie was accusing Zay's boyfriend S1K of abusing her. Now, obviously, nothing really came out of it, and whether or not he did or didn't, I'm gonna be honest, I think there's just not enough proof. There's not enough of something. Just we got to take the word of Boogie with me. Taking the word of Boogie at gospel, it's really dumb. But then again, taking the word of any lolcow, it's pretty dumb in general. So, you know, regardless, take that with a grain of salt, no matter what, or a whole box or two or tens of salt. The poison of a sodium level that I've not been seen before. Nevertheless, you can't really blame her, and I'm just like, eh. And I think they make kind of a good point saying that like a host doesn't need to make a point just because they have to work with that person. I don't think they interacts with Mike that often, if at all, in any given day or even a given week or a month. At the same time, I think people just want to know their perspective. And so it makes it difficult, right? Like Yo Mama, people probably want to know about what Yo Mama thinks about the situation. And the fact that he's refusing to work on milkers should say a lot. But we gotta move on because there's another thing I want to talk about in the nerd segment.
Every single stream when we've talked about it off air, so why do you keep bringing it up?
I really feel like I don't bring it up every stream.
Sure.
I really don't. Here, I'll look in our last episode. I'll just do the timestamps. I'll look up the transcript of the last 3 episodes. I don't think I need to do that. I'm not saying it. If I'm bringing up every day and it's pissing you off, I'll stop that.
Which is why I'm not saying it now. Stop bringing it up live on air. Talk to me about it behind the scenes. This is an obvious behind the scenes conversation, and you keep doing it live on air. This has been like the 5th episode we've had this exact talk. 5th time. Like, come on.
Okay, here's the other problem I see, right? Zay, when somebody is trying to talk to you, sometimes what I see you doing is you kind of stop listening because they've said something, and now you're just waiting for your turn to talk to prove a point instead of actually letting them get all the way through what they're trying to explain to you. And I can see
here we have a fight that happened between One Buff and Zay. Now it's sort of towards the middle tail end segment when things are cooling down. This happens a lot more often in nerds than you may think, and from what I understand, this happens a lot more in behind the scenes. Now I think it has to do with just their personality clashing, where I think One Buff is a much more open and loud-mouthed person, which gets him in a lot of trouble. Now, to be fair, there was already tension building up between One Buff and Zay throughout the stream. Even early on in this particular stream, there was some already tension. They're dealing with a number of things, right? And it's probably difficult sometimes for One Buff because he has to be willing, he has to tiptoe over some stuff. But I can imagine in the case of Zay, it's also the same. And right, like they even got into this whole argument about Kill the Kill. With let me be fair, and I'm gonna say this right now: Kill the Kill, whether it's Gunnerific as Zay said what it is, it's a very mid anime. It's not like I will straight up say that the fight scenes are good. I don't think you can deny that. But it's a very mid anime. Like I think the only reason people even know about it is because how Gunnerish it is. And at one point, like it was overhyped. Like not saying it's a bad anime, but it's very mid in the sense that it's very overhyped and overblown because of it being a Gainax anime. Probably one of the very few left Gainax anime at that period of time. And being what the the anime content is. Now that's not the only thing, right? Right, that's not the only thing that was already boiling up through it. And I can imagine there was other behind the scenes stuff, right? And this ain't the first time I can imagine they got into multiple arguments, multiple fights, multiple stuff over this kind of stuff. I'm not gonna lie, sometime when I watch One Buff Weed talk about talk about stuff like this, I'm reminded of I'm reminded of why anime fans get a bad reputation because of stuff like he says. Again, Kill the Kill, it is a very mid-ish anime. There are things I do like about it. It's been years since I've seen it. Not really that like top tier. The animation is good, but like it's Gainax. You're gonna get good animation, especially that time period after Gurren Lagann, Panty and Stocking, and I think one other anime they made around that time span. Yeah, you're gonna get pretty good animation, so And I think Trigger got in. You know, Trigger is also. Never mind. Let's just continue. Cause let's not talk about stuff like that. We just gotta continue.
Thing each individually, okay? I'm not sitting here talking to yo mama. I'm sitting here talking to her, and bro. Nope. Nope.
I think you're a little too worked up about it.
No, I'm very worked up
If you
about it
think
because
about it the way that I said it.
stand against shit like that. In my community,
but if you think about it the way that I said it.
Okay, what you're talking about, your line, the community I come from, your ass would have got burned just for doing that.
Okay, so if somebody came into your community and say my name was Sally Fields and my channel name was Sally Fields, and I tell everybody that, yep, that's my government name, blah, 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 blah. You think that anybody who Googles Sally Fields YouTube or Sally Fields
I can actually give you, yes, 100%. And I'm gonna tell you why. Tipster, the streamer Tipster, he actually had his name on his channel, and they ended up hard doxing his ass real bad because they did a Google search on his name.
See, that's where you go wrong, though. The going wrong, though, is the hard doxing part, is the passing the information on part.
It's the simple fact that you even looked at it was the problem.
It's saying the information publicly part. You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't like.
AMAC for 2 cents.
Yeah, so this was Zeta Ray's first show, and she kind of messed it up by doxing Joe Mama's name. How you do that right off the bat, it's insane. And obviously, later on, she will get fired and completely kicked off the Discord for saying Yo Mama's name completely, which is brutal, right? Which is a 100% brutal. It's your first show ever, and then you already messed it up. Like, damn, it takes people like weeks or days to do that. You just speed run down like it was nothing. And I'm here just like, you know what? I feel like I'm not surprised, but I'm also very surprised. Is Yo Mama's gonna come back and do the show with Xylee? Because early on, I forgot to mention it in Nerd, when Zay heard that, oh yeah, Zeta Ray, I'm gonna come in for your job. Because let's be fair, this ain't the first time where Zay has come at somebody's job. But I will say this 100%, as much as some people say that's messed up. I'm sorry to say that. That's just the fact of life. That's just reality. People are always gonna gun for your position. People are always gonna gun for your job. You just gotta accept that. You can't accept that, don't work in the real world. Because there is many times where I've seen people gun at each other's jobs to only mess it up, or worst case scenario, completely burn the bridge when they get to that position. So it's either do or you don't go there, right? At this point, she probably will get that position. Unless your mom decides to come in and say, nope, this is mine now. Woman, get out. I need to get a soundboard soon. But nevertheless, let us yonder forward. I don't know where I was going with that one, but I wanted to LARP for a little bit. Just let me LARP. Okay, move on.
I feel like I deserved, right? Like, just I wanted for nothing. If I needed it, they got it for me, right? Like, and it wasn't. I didn't ask. They just did it, And he just said, like, this is your first time to America, maybe your only time in America. I want you to have the absolute best time possible, And he said, I hope one day you pay it forward, and I 100% will. Like, it just the generosity. Meeting Keem was cool. He literally had me believing he was like this tall, and I meet him, and I'm like, bro, he's just a normal dude. Like, he's just he's just a normal dude.
People just talk shit.
But like, he legitimately had me thinking he was an actual tiny guy, and then when I see him,
I'm
like,
the gnome moniker is just haters who can't handle the fact that he calls out their bullshit on Drama Alert. They call him the gnome because they ain't got nothing better to call him. For those of you sending in gifted donos, gifteds are broken right now. We're going to get that fixed. All your gifteds are going to get refunded to you. Thank you for the love, though. Appreciate it.
I did.
So yeah, local ball. I'm just reminded of a video I saw a long time ago. I can't remember the user's name. The Local Balls is a new show on the network. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be another show coming out either this week or next week with 2 other hosts, unless they decide to cancel that. And I forgot that Milkers got rebranded, sort of. Mike isn't working there anymore. How I felt about Balls, I guess it was the fresh of new air. I think it was a show that people probably wanted. I mean, like there have been rumored and people talking about wanting a new show with Billy and Xylee having their own separate shows away from Rewind because I think they've kind of outgrown Rewind. Let me be fair. When we get into the Rewind segment, I'm probably gonna have to repeat myself. But I do 100% believe that they have outgrown the Rewind segment. They have completely outgrown that whole thing. And I think because of that, maybe getting a new show is very important to them. And it's a way to express themselves more. Where Rewind is very restrictive and they try to get out of it only to get in trouble, I think them doing their new show is probably a much bigger plus than you can imagine on their end. Because that means that they're able to now be more creative and more active. Now, whether or not you like Billy, whether or not you like Xylee, you can't deny that they've been kind of in a weird state of stagnation. Whether or not Billy and Xylee enjoy doing Rewind, that's a different question all in itself. But I do think that maybe it's time for them to kind of move on from Rewind and start their own separate shows as a way to be more creative, more expressive. And I think that time is now, right, for them to move away from Rewind and have somebody else come in and replace that hole. What I think is needed, but I think if they're gonna let somebody come in and replace them in Rewind, they need somebody who is dedicated to going through all the show and clipping and getting what they want. So let's move on.
That night. But like she's fun to do shows with. She was just starting to loosen up on Tech Talk before I got moved.
She has a crush on you?
I don't know, does she?
You have a crush on her?
I find her oh god. No matter what I say, this is going to come out wrong. I find her mentally stimulating.
What do you mean by that?
It means I can hold a conversation with her and like not get bored of her.
What do you guys talk about?
Well, we don't talk that frequently. Every time we've been talking, like for the most part, has been about work. So,
what do you guys talk about outside of work?
We don't.
So what do you talk about that you find mentally stimulating?
No, like the way I'm amused by the way that I'm amused by how she cracks jokes and stuff, like how she carries herself and how she talks, like when she's doing shows in the LCU. That's the best way I can put it. I'm just kind of like really amused by her.
At one point, you had quite a crush on Beans.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. CD-ROM is now the new host that is replacing our one and only Rasop. For some weird reason, I couldn't say his name. I couldn't think of his name. My brain was a little slow in the head for some weird reason. Nevertheless. I don't know how I feel about CD-ROM fully being on live. I think it's going to be interesting. Now, they did bring up Wings of Redemption, good old Wingo, in the situation he's in, or that was in. Yeah, if you're not aware, Wings kind of screwed up again and now has basically ruined his relationship with Woody. I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw it coming, nevertheless, if you're one of a big-time Wing detractor. Well, that was interesting to see. That happened. Do I think CD-ROM's a good fit? He has the voice. I'm not gonna lie. He has the voice and may even have the energy. To me, what matters to me is just the low countness of it all, right? If they're still low count and they still act like low count, that's what matters to me. And I'm very blunt and open about it. I'm not gonna lie to you and think, oh, is he entertaining? Because I don't think I'm the most entertaining person. But I'm not gonna be here and lie to you or make up some type of case or moral situation of the low count. I don't expect too much coming out of this. And really, if you're expecting that, no. Like, what's the matter is that they're low count and that they do low count shit. You know, and if CD-ROM fulfills in that vacuum that was left from Wings, then well, here we are. We can enjoy it for what it's worth, right? We can enjoy the beautifulness of it all. But again, we'll have to wait and see how things play out with CD-ROM. I don't know how I was able to make that into make a 1 minute, 2 minute commentary out of a 1 minute clip. I guess I have a talent for just shit posting, but nevertheless, what a yawner.
There's a lot of people that watch us. You could just imagine the charges that they have themselves. But the reason why it doesn't matter is because they're not a big name on YouTube. But I was there when Mike got released on his own recognizance. Nobody with a domestic violence get released on their own personal recognizance. Nobody. Especially with all these injuries you guys are saying that took place. And it's funny you should say that because he came here when he got released and she met him here and there wasn't a fucking mark on her. Nothing. And I am all for the domestic violence. And y'all save that shit telling me about domestic violence. Tina, you guys didn't give a fuck when you called up the man that tried to kill me and say I was abusing my son so he could kill me for sure. Y'all didn't give a fuck. So now you want me to have a bigger outlook? Let me tell you something. Bridget also went to jail in 2016 for domestic violence too. Okay? Surprise! Y'all are not gonna fucking emphasize that though, right?
Go Queen.
She woke up.
So yeah, so in Queen, they had to talk about the situation because it's just, you know, Tina is very close with Michael. Now, obviously, I made my opinions very clear how I feel about the situation. I'm not the only one who made their opinions very clear about the situation. Now, I think the way they are acting about this versus how they act about the Kelly stuff is very different in 180. But that's what you expect when you're dealing with people like Tina and to some extent even Michael. Now, when we do get into the BBU stuff, which is a separate video in itself, I will bring that up. Unless the BBU stuff comes out first, but I really doubt it. So obviously the LCU stuff comes first, probably. If probably I'm gonna have to develop a schedule sooner or later about the kind of stuff. But nevertheless, back into the format, what I'm trying to go off of. And I didn't realize even Gizzy went through abusive stuff herself. Now, Tina is very passionate about it because she's very close to Michael. She's going to defend Michael. I would even say that even Tina has a certain attraction to Michael. I think we've seen it a number of times. And you can't really, like, obviously I don't like Tina for those kind of reasons, but in my head, I'm like, well, whether you want to rationalize it or not, can you really blame her for trying to defend Michael? It's one of those things where, regardless of how you feel about the situation, I especially think he did a lot of wrongs, and I'm going to still hold to it. But, if the court decides otherwise, the court decides otherwise, and there's nothing you can do in the end of the day about it. There's just nothing you can do, and that's just something you got to come to terms with, right? Especially in America, where, you've already been convicted with a crime. I think you cannot be convicted. You know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. And you could kind of tell that people were just not happy with Tina about this. Let's move on, though.
Show her house. I don't need to talk about all she does is talk about us. I don't need to talk about, we have so much to talk about. I just hate that much talent, which, let's be honest, Savage, Roxy, and Becky were talent. But why? Why are they letting their talent flail talking about us? Some no-name bitch that falls out of the sky and you? Really? Come on. And the fact that anyone could... But the fact that anyone, especially Becky fat-ass Boop, could go around fucking talking about Mike, bitch, guess what? Keem took you out of that group chat and added me.
I was able to scroll back. Don't fuck with me, whore.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, I haven't signed an NDA yet. So all the shit I saw that she said, no wonder Keem fucking gave up on this fucking show. I would have too. Yep. She was a fucking unstable nightmare.
So yeah, we have Gizzy talking about Becky. Now Becky did respond to this by saying you can't do that. There's no way you can do that. Depending on how what message you're using, and depending on a number of things, some messages you could actually look back through. You could easily look back through. Now, if they're using iPhone, I'm not sure, but I think there is a way to actually go back through older messages. So I kind of more likely to believe Gizzy over Becky. Hot take. But again, Becky does make a response. And again, we'll get, that's probably that's a separate video compared to the LCU stuff. So I'm not gonna really talk about that until we get into the Becky stuff in the video, because there's quite a few things I say. Wait, I forgot to put this in, right? I forgot to put the clip in because I'm an idiot. Keem did mention Becky in his early stream, and just straight up, and it kind of inspired me to keep doing what I'm doing, where even if you only get 4 or 5 viewers, even if you don't get a lot of money, you keep making content. You keep doing. Now, I don't think I made content. All I am doing is clipping and commentary. So I don't believe I'm making content. But he is right. Even if you're only streaming to an audience of 4 or 5 people, you keep at it. You don't stop. Even if you're having a bad week. And I think, but again, we'll get into that with the Becky stuff when we get into it. But she took it pretty hard. I'll say that much. Now. NDA aside, it's going to spark a war between Queens and Becky. I doubt it. This is probably the only time, or hopefully they could just stop talking about this, because I think most people just don't care. But then again, I'm feeling that Queen's newer audience are going to be automatically going to be against Becky anyway, because I have a good feeling that Gizzy's going to bring in a new host of audience. And Becky's only going to keep the old remnant of people that liked her, because that's really how it felt and how it's feeling. But again, we'll get into it when we get into it in that segment, in that video. So let's move on from this.
Rastov and I were trying to get those gifted sent in, and they weren't coming through. So I think everybody who tried to send them in to us should send them into lolcowlive tomorrow instead, because we won't be able to get them for a week.
Either that or go 2 hours early and go to lolcowmilkers.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could send them to Rewind.
Oh, yeah.
Or send them to Rewind.
Well, Xylee and I are fighting right now, so I don't want to...
Are you guys really fighting?
No, we're not really fighting. No.
Can I leak an aspect of our private call earlier today, Xylee?
Yeah, go for it.
Dude, I called Xylee and I was like, all right, what happened, right? And she told me what happened, and she's like, I'm just going to leave the show. I don't want you to fire her, any of this and that. Like, dude, you're a real one for that, Xylee. Obviously, I kept Xylee and fired Zeta, but...
Yeah, no, that's, yeah. Look, I was like, listen, she can run OBS, she can run the channel. I just don't feel comfortable working with her, that's all.
She's just... These people that come from that corner, we had to deal with it with Savage and stuff. They're just stuck in their ways. They think that's totally normal,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know, like, when you read.
So here they're kind of going into detail about the whole thing that happened early on with Zeta Ray. And obviously they're talking about their experience and going to the usual Rewind stuff. But I did say I think it was necessary for them to move on from Rewind. I mean, is it going to happen anytime soon where they move from Rewind and they let new people come in and replace them? Not anytime soon, but it wouldn't surprise me in a month or two that ends up happening, because they end up enjoying their newer shows. Right? I think that's just the process of things that may end up happening, but I could be wrong. That's perfectly fine. Now, what Keem said, now, I disagree that I think the whole Savage stuff, her going IRL with the one-off thing, but I know that some people in the channel may not agree with that, and I know there are just some people here that don't like Savage. Now, personally, I just don't care too much about Savage as a person. I mean, I've watched some of her stream. I've seen her on the BBU. I'm like, whatever. it's like whatever in my eyes. I just don't care enough. Just don't really find her that quite appealing or interesting. But that's just a me thing. But also, I just don't care much about Gore World in general, right? Right, I don't care much about Gore World. Truthfully. Now, obviously, with Vita Ray, is she gonna come back again? I really doubt it, given the fact that she really shit the bed on this one. But we'll have to wait and see how things play out in the future. Let's move on to Ozzy and then finally Tess. Don't mess with Tess.
Streaming, and you know how I like move up and down, like I move around a lot, and you're the last person that I got your phone number today, so like I probably just accidentally sat on it wrong and called you. And then since it was calling already, I was like, this is awkward. I should leave a voicemail. And then like everybody was telling me about how bad the border was.
Tell him we blamed calling Keemstar on him.
We did call Keemstar like 3 times though, and I think he blocked Twiggy's number.
What, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fucking great.
He didn't answer.
That's
didn't
Mike's
work.
issue. That's Mike has to deal with that.
Yeah, so we're gonna need you to figure that out, I guess.
I guess I'll write Keemstar and say to unblock him so you can keep calling him.
All right, well, we're doing a really good job right now. They just wanted me to let you know that the border's awful.
The border is not awful. The border before was fucking awful.
I'm just saying that's what they said. I'm not saying that I believe that.
Tell him Keem made the old border.
How does it look?
Well, Keem made the old border.
Keem made it? No wonder it looks like
Now, I'm not sure how I feel about Michael running another show that is different. Now, he is managing Ozzy. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not sure how things are going to play out, but I have a feeling that Twiggy is probably going to lean into more of the guideline or the scripted or more of that than anything else with. It is Twiggy, so it is what it is. I'm not going to get mad at the man, for what it's worth. It's Twiggy, and I think this may actually be something good. Now, again, regardless of my opinions on Micah, regardless of how I personally feel about him, well, it's gonna be one of those things. Right, well, regardless, looks like they're having fun. I don't know. There's not really much I can say since I know right now Ozzy is focusing and covering interesting locales that some I've never heard of, so it is what it is. Let's move on to the test and end this video.
Oh, why would I want to be you tomorrow? You're fucking bold, dude. I like my hair. Like, bro, like nothing's happening tomorrow. You Michelin man. What the fuck you talking about? Stay puff looking motherfucker.
Bro cooked himself. Bro, guess
You
what?
are cooked.
You gave me.
You fucked, bro.
What?
You can be served later, you know?
Served? What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, cooked.
Bro, Michelangelo
cooked,
saved
bro.
me, bro.
No,
Saved
dragging
Michelangelo.
in anywhere else. You cooked, bro.
Why can't I drag in Michelangelo to help me,
Because we're not
bro?
dragging it anywhere
That
right
man-
now. Because we're going to do our own
that-
show. I don't want to fucking just bring in random people right now. We're doing a show.
Okay, you know what? Whatever. Tomorrow comes. I'm on the show today. Let's fucking continue.
Oh,
Go
Bass,
ahead.
so no, you
Go
don't
ahead.
care.
Go ahead.
Bass, finally, we can fucking move
No,
on.
I do care.
Oh
I
my-
do care, but
Cry more, bro. It is what it is, all right? Everyone's praying for you, Machiavelli said. I don't know what the fuck that means. What's the matter with you, you fucking egg?
I want to be a fucking broken egg right now, bro. I don't
Guys,
fucking
can we all
understand
like the
what's
stream,
going
please?
on.
Like, you all owe me so
Ultra,
much for
calm
fucking derailing
down.
this
Move
show.
on, bro.
Like,
Okay, let's move the fuck on, bro. I don't
You
even
guys
understand.
owe
Oh,
me a
And we finally come to the tail end of this video. Finally, we made it through. I did it. I did a 24-hour stuff of the LCU. Oh! I needed to yawn and slightly barf at the same time, so I decided, why not yell it out? Why not stress it out? Yeah, I've been in my chair for at least almost a good hour, 30 minutes. I don't know. I stopped counting. I don't even care anymore. Going through this stuff, and all I could think of it, damn. It's content never gonna end for me. This is never gonna end. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it. The test stuff was pretty funny. The fact that Nightmare called Ultra the Michelin doll. I was dying laughing. I had the giggles. I couldn't stop. I couldn't hold it in. I think that's really it. Nightmare didn't quit. I think he's still gonna go after Billy. So we are going to see some stuff happen down the line. But I think with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one, and always, God bless.